Hi everybody, welcome to Shifting Lives. I'm your host, Zanele Ndlovu. Shifting Lives is the epicenter of self-growth and development for you who desire to live an abundant life of purpose as you walk into your divinity while navigating life on earth. It is a home for motivation, encouragement, and spiritual growth. A safe place for vulnerability as well as celebrations. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for subscribing, thank you for following, thank you for tuning in, thank you for the likes and the shares. I truly appreciate it. If this is your first time to the platform, thank you for being here. I truly appreciate you, and Shifting Lives is nothing without you. Now in this week's episode, I want us to talk about the spectrum of life. The spectrum of life is a mixture of tiny bits of everything of yourself. This includes your learning and your mistakes. This includes your ethics. This includes your morals. This includes your conclusion, your assumptions. This includes your emotions. It is everything wrapped around, everything of who you are, what you've experienced, what you've gone through, how you respond to those experiences. Everything comes back to that spectrum of life, and that becomes your spectrum of life. Now, the thing I want us to concentrate on or to look at today is on which side of the spectrum of your life are you in? Because with each one of this, there's the negative and there's the positive, there's the good and there's the bad. And most of the time we assume that because everything that we've experienced, I'm allowed to be in bits and bits of everything. I'm allowed to be negative and positive at the same time. But what we don't understand is that the spectrum of life is what shifts us to a specific focus in our lives. It is what shifts us to a change and a transformation in our lives. It is everything that builds us up in terms of who we are and who we aspire to be. Now, with every of the items or the things and situations that you go through in your life, there will always be parts of it that is good and there will be part of it that is bad. That is why Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. All things work for good. All things work for good. It means that even the bad part of your life, the bad things in your life, they can work for your good. They will work for your good. They are for your good. And sometimes it becomes hard for us to get to the good because we don't believe that from negativity there can be good. We don't believe that from discouragement there can be good. We don't believe that from hurt there can be good, because the pain or the emotion of hurt and disappointment and trauma at that time is nothing close to being good. It is nothing close to being refreshing. It is nothing close to showing up in a way that something good does seem to appear or should seem to appear from it. So we lack the understanding of the all things work for good, because we assume that, not that we assume, but because what we go through tells us otherwise. It is good for one to know on which spectrum of life, on which side of the spectrum of life are they dwelling on. Are you dwelling on the negative side? Are you dwelling on the positive side? Are you thriving for the good? Or are you okay with just letting the bad consume you? Because that is how then you are living your life. This is what I mean about it. So everything about your life sums up to a spectrum, right? A spectrum is a mixture. It is a combination of everything that you go through in your life. It is a combination of everything that you've experienced, everything that you know, everything that you've learned, every mistake that you've made. Everything comes in together. Your mistakes, your learning, your disappointments, your hurt, your heartbreaks, everything, your traumas, your celebrations, everything comes to this package as of a spectrum. Now, when you have to determine which side of the spectrum of life are you in, you have to look at how you live your life. In your assumptions, we all assume things in our lives. Whenever you are going to go for an interview, you will assume how the interview will go. You will assume how the person is going to respond. When you're meeting somebody for the first time, you have your assumptions and your expectations. You will assume the response of that person. You will assume how that person is going to relate to you, how that person is going to see you or view you. We have assumptions in our lives. In everything that we do, we will always assume. That is a natural thing. Now, what you need to identify in those assumptions is, are you constantly assuming the negative about you? Are you constantly assuming people are going to hate you? Are you assuming this is not going to work? Are you assuming the relationship is not going to work? Are you assuming the interview is not going to be successful? Because that is dwelling on the negative of your assumptions. But if you are assuming he's going to like me, she's going to like me, the interview is going to go well, the panel is going to love me, I know what I'm doing, I know how I'm going to present myself, you are assuming the good. So your spectrum is always going to be divided into the good and the bad, the positive and the negative, the right and the wrong. Which one of it are you focusing on? In your emotions, yes, we will experience our emotions. Yes, we will feel the hurt and the pain. We will feel joy and happiness, gladness and all of that. But which one are you dwelling on the most? Are you holding on to the pain and the hurt? Are you holding on to the unforgiveness? Are you holding on to the fear? What is it? Or are you on the good? Are you holding on to the experiences of joy, the experiences of happiness, the celebrations? Are you focusing on that? We are not always going to be happy. We are not always going to be joyful. We are not always going to be, lovey-dovey. But I can choose to have those emotions much more than the negative ones or the bad ones. I can choose to have more happy emotions, happy experiences than the negative ones. I can choose that. I'm not saying the experience that I will go through will always be happy and joyful and good and whatnot, but I'm saying that even when I'm going through the bad and the hurtful things, I try to switch my emotions to think of what used to be good, how it felt to be happy, how it felt to be joyful, how it felt. All of those emotions I try to tap into, because that's what I want to focus on, not on the pain, not on the negative, not on the bad. So which one are you on? Are you always on the negative emotions of sadness, the negative emotions of anger, unforgiveness? Which one are you in? Even in your conclusions as a person, what are you constantly concluding on? Do you always conclude that things never work out for you? Do you always conclude that marriage is not for you? Do you always conclude that family will never love you? Do you always conclude that people always leave your life? What is it that are you concluding about your life? Are you concluding that people love me? Are you concluding that I have long-lasting friendships and relationships? Are you concluding that, you have a beautiful life? What is it that you're concluding about yourself? Is it good or is it bad? Even in your learning, are you learning good things? Are you learning bad things? What are you learning in your life? What are you allowing yourself to learn? What are you allowing yourself to be taught of? What are you allowing yourself to be infiltrated with? Is it good or is it bad? We can always unlearn things. You can unlearn bad habits. You can unlearn, negativity. You can unlearn a lot of things as much as you can learn new things. As much as you can learn good things, you can unlearn them, the bad as well. So what is it that you are learning? Are you learning forgiveness? Are you learning to love? Are you learning to be courageous? Are you learning to be faithful? What is it that you are learning? Are you learning to be a good friend, a good partner, a good spouse, a good sister, a good daughter, a good mother? What is it that you are learning? Or are you constantly just learning to just walk away from things and people that are trying to come to you? People that are trying to open up to you, people that are trying to love you, you're pushing them away. You are learning to be alone. You are learning to be negative. What is it that you are learning? Are you learning to be a hard worker? or a lazy person? Are you learning to always have excuses? Are you learning to always justify yourself in the things that you do? What is it that you are learning in your life? Is it good or is it bad? Which spectrum of life are you on? In your mistakes, how are you moving forward from your mistakes? Are you holding on to your mistakes? Are you clinging on to that part of you that distresses you? The part of you that shows you how inhumane you were? How bad of a decision maker you are? Or are you going to change that story? Are you going to unlearn those habits of clinging to your mistakes and never forgiving yourself for them? Or are you going to move forward? Are you going to learn to forgive yourself? Are you going to learn to love yourself? Are you going to learn from your mistakes? Are you going to learn to build yourself up? Are you going to learn to produce out of the bad the good? Are you going to learn to turn the all things back together for your good? Are you going to learn to turn things around for your story? What are you willing to do? Which spectrum of life are you focusing on? The good or the bad? It's as simple as that. We cannot be in between. You cannot say I want a little bit of the good and a little bit of the bad. You have to decide on which spectrum you want to be in. Yes, you have a spectrum of life that consists of all of this, and we cannot change that. We cannot change everything that is within our lives, everything that we've experienced, everything that we're still going to experience. We cannot change that. It forms part of the spectrum of life. It forms part of who I am. It forms part of me developing. But I still get to choose. I still get to choose which one I focus on. Do I focus on the good or do I focus on the bad? Do I assume the best or do I assume the worst? Do I conclude the best or do I conclude the worst? Which one is it? Which side of life do I want to focus on? And that is basically all there is in terms of deciding which way you want to go in life. You can be stagnant or you can move forward. You can be negative or you can be positive. You can be good or you can be bad. You just have to decide which spectrum of life are you in. Everything sums up to you, but you choose which answer you want to bring out. Whatever people know about you can never override what you bring out of you. And that is the best thing about life. It's not about the opinions of others. It's not about what is summed up by others. It's what I produce out of all of these experiences. It is what I produce out of being who I am, how I present myself, how I relate to myself. That is the nature of a winning person. Your presentation is everything. Your presentation is everything. Is it a good presentation or is it a bad one? For you to move forward, you will have to decide. Because there's one lane that will keep you backwards, keep you stagnant, keep you walking in circles, and then there's another lane that will push you forward. Demand the best from you. Demand the good from you. Demand you to overcome and be victorious. Demand that all things work together for your good. That is another lane. You just have to decide which spectrum, which lane, which identity are you pursuing for yourself. And that is all I had for you today. Thank you so much for allowing me to pour my heart out to you guys. It is truly amazing to have to be in this platform every single week, just to come and learn with you and grow with you and be the best versions of ourselves. So I truly appreciate you. Remember to subscribe, remember to like, remember to share. Please tell your friends, your cousins, other friends, cousins, that there's Shifting Lives. It's a podcast. Our podcast is now also on YouTube. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in
To connect with me, find the links to all our social media platforms on the description of this podcast. Till next time, bye.